Welcome back to Spa-Francorchamps, where earlier today we had our first GB3 Championship race of the weekend. It was won by high-tech Pulse 8's Alex Dunn, who took his first GB3 race victory after a race-long battle with Rodin Carlin's Callum Voisin, with Douglas Motorsports' Tim Kaharczyk finishing third. Here's what the top three had to say at the end of the race.
Congratulations, Alex. Great victory, and what a great move to take the lead.
Yeah, I'm overwhelmed. I'm really happy to finally get my first win under the belt. I think, definitely back to where I think we should be. The team and I have been working really hard to finally get a win is a really nice feeling.
Obviously, the safety car would have interrupted proceedings, but did that give you a little bit of time to sort of gather your thoughts and work out your strategy?
Yeah, I think the safety car kind of bunched everyone up, kind of gave me a chance to relax and see what was going to happen in the race. And then I think a couple of laps after the safety car, I kind of lined Callum up and managed to get past him at the end of the straight. And from then on, it was kind of just keep my head down and try build a gap.
It was a manoeuvre that started at the source, quite a long way from where we actually got the pass taken place. Is Spa a circuit where, you have to get a load of corners right on the way forward to progress?
Yeah, of course. I think the slipstream effects helps, but if you don't get the move done, then you have a really long section where you're stuck in dirty air. So you really need to be pinpoint accurate and kind of get the middle sector perfect, which I think I managed to do when I was following him. And then I was really strong in the last corner in turn one, which kind of set him up for the straight, and then I managed to get past him after a rouge. So yeah, it all planned out pretty well.
Callum, second place, congratulations. You led through a lot of the race, but Alex was just able to squeeze past you into the car.
Yeah, it was still a good race. Very happy with the result. P2, more good points, which is what we're here for. But yeah, it's always tough leading around here. There's such a long straight going down into down the Camel Straight. It is very difficult. They get a huge toe behind you. So. Yeah, I guess expected in a way. I think once he got past me, I made a little bit too many mistakes. So, yeah, a little bit of shame, kind of disappointed about that. But apart from that, we still still collected valuable points. And, yeah, we can go for it again in this next one.
Another race today, same conditions. Changes at the car, changes to yourself. What's now you're working on between races?
Yeah, I think it will be similar, probably maybe a little bit cooler this afternoon or tonight, whenever we have our races quite late on in the evening. So, no, I think from my side, just tidy up a few things, driving-wise, making less mistakes, as I said. So, no, we'll look through the data and see what we can do. And, yeah, I think we're confident heading into the second race. I think, we had better pace than what we expected, so yeah.
The GB3 car's a fairly awesome round. Spa's a fairly awesome circuit. It must be put a smile on your face every time you get in the car.
Yeah, for sure. To race around the Ardennes in this GB3 car is really fun. Just the amount of corner speed you can carry is huge, and yeah, it's a very long straight, so it's very fun.
Congratulations, third place. The battle was going on in front of you, but you couldn't quite get to them.
Yeah, I think good race behind us. First podium of the season. We're lacking a bit of speed on the straights. Nevertheless, was quite a good race, I think, avoiding the other cars. And yeah, good race.
You seem to close on Callum sort of midway through the race after the safety car restart. Did you feel you're just getting a bit of better cornering than him?
I think in the twisty part in the second sector, we were faster than them. But even though I was pretty close to him, I couldn't just catch him enough to make the pass in the end of the straights. So yeah, it was quite impossible to pass him.
Did the safety car upset the race for you? Were you able to sort of compose yourself, focus your thoughts and sort of work out maybe a way of getting through?
Yeah, I think, after the safety car, I was a bit closer to the top two, so I was able to get in this fight. It was a chance for me to get these positions back and then to fight even for the win. But yeah, couldn't do much more.
Two more races to go this weekend. Is it a case of going back and talking to the team and making some changes?
I will have a look. I think we need to find a bit more speed on the straights. But I think we'll be fine. We'll be starting from further back on the grid for race 2 and 3. But I think the pace is there, so we'll keep on fighting.
Spa-Francorchamps, of course, is one of the most famous circuits in the world, and the corner behind me needs little to no introduction, of course, the Eau Rouge and Radillon complex. But let's take a closer look now at the circuit with Piers Pryor.
Let's talk you through the Spa-Francorchamps circuit. Certainly one of the highlights of the season in GB3, with corners world famous such as Eau Rouge, the Kemmel Straight, Radion, Les Combes and Pouhon. The circuit is amazing and a real challenge for the drivers. We're so lucky to be here for the GB3 Championship. And let's just run you through some of those corners. Again, Campus and Stavelot, very important on the long run up Paul Frere towards Blanchimont. There's going to be a lot of slipstreaming action, and then of course the last corner at the chicane at the bus stop where the race may be won and lost. 4.352 miles, or just over 7 kilometres in length. It's one of the longest circuits we visit this year, if not one of the longest circuits in the world. 19 of the best corners, flowing fast, over 116 mile an hour average speed in qualifying, with over 101 metres of elevation change, and you can just see there some of those gradients that the drivers will have to be tackling this weekend. I'm looking forward to watching the racing. I'm sure the drivers are looking forward to driving on it. Well, that was the track we're racing at this weekend. Max Marzorati is joining me in the commentary box this weekend. I'm looking forward to some excellent racing, a bit different to some of the other circuits that we visit, and slipstreaming is definitely going to be a factor.
Yeah, definitely. You know, there's such a long run into Les Combes that it's so important. In fact, most races we've seen around here, especially in the dry, whoever is actually on pole and leads out of the source probably isn't likely to be leading at the end of the first lap. Because the difficult nature of leading around here. Qualifying's been great. I think we've seen like quite a shake-up actually in the order of what we've seen previous 2 races. Nice to see Gerard with my old team Hill Speed get into the top 10 and see what they can do from there, but also seeing Callum on pole for this weekend, I think it's going to be very exciting.
Yeah, and what about those drivers who potentially haven't qualified as high as they would like? For example, Joseph Loke, who has won 3 of the 4 races we've qualified for this year, way down outside of the top 10, unfortunately. So do you reckon he can come through? Because, of course, Spa can potentially be easy to overtake at.
Yeah, if there was a circuit where you could play a joker qualifying, this isn't how we wanted it to shape out, it would be this circuit due to the nature of these long straights. Even though the dirty area is still there in the middle sector, you've got such a long run to the bus stop chicane, which will be good enough to get a good slipstream into that chicane, or obviously up Eau Rouge, Radlon. You know, those are easy flat corners. Even with a little bit of dirty air, that means you should get enough of a tow to be battling down into Les Combes and passing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's enough speculation. Let's have a look and see what actually happens this weekend during the races. Hello and welcome back once again to the second race of the weekend, GB3, here at Spa-Francorchamps, and the 8th round of the 2023 season. My name is Piers Pryor. I'll be commentating this race with you. Alongside me is Max Marzorati, former GB3 racer and also last year's GB4 title contender. Max, we saw some drama in the first race. Mackenzie Cresswell had an incident at the start, and then there was a big crash towards the back of the field. We had a short safety car period, but then the racing at the front was close between Voisin and Dunn. What are your expectations for the race ahead?
I'm not really sure, to be honest. I'm just excited to see what's going to unfold. I think Dunn will be as quick as he was in the last race. I'm interested to see how Voisin and Carlin have reacted to that. Will they try and trim out a little bit more wing, if that's actually possible, to go defensive and try and get a bit more time out in the first and last sector? Because that high tech just looked so quick, you know, in a straight line, and Dunn was doing very well in the middle sector to stay with him in the dirty air. It'll be interesting to see how Cresswell is going to act now. Is he going to go all out to try and get the best result he can, or is he just going to try and bank points and bank a podium?
Yeah, exactly. And also, it'd be interesting to see how Callum Voisin does in this one, because we saw last time out he was very strong at the start, but that high-tech Pulse 8 car of Alex Dunn looked stronger towards the end. Mackenzie Cresswell, as you mentioned, will be looking to make amends for that. Strong result for David Morales, but let's do the grid. So, Callum Voisin on pole for Rodin Carlin, and Alex Dunn in second place. Mackenzie Cresswell third, and then Matthew Reeson fourth. And the 5th place is Nico Christodoulou with Max Esserson alongside him. Timet Kuharczyk in 7th. 8th is Gerard Shee. 9th is Joseph Logan. 10th is Edward Pearson. 11th Costa Taparis. And 12th Jared Robertsky. 13th we have John Bennett, and then 14th James Headley. 15th David Morales. He's a bit of a struggle in qualifying that for the second lap, so a bit further down this time. Then Lucas Staiko in Lucas Staiko in the next position. Then Ayoto Iwasaki, followed by Michael Shin, Suta Arao, Sean Rashid, Artur Rojon, Daniel Mavliatov, Oliver Stewart, Noah Ping, and rounding out the field for this race, second race of the weekend, is Zach Taylor. Of course, a reminder to all of you at home, the first race of the weekend was decided by the fastest lap of the qualifying session. This grid set by the second fastest lap from qualifying, so those drivers who didn't get a good second lap in qualifying will be a bit further down the field. For example, David Morales, who had a strong top 5 result in qualifying overall and in the first race, will be much further down the field outside the top 10. We've also got some drivers who moved up a little bit further, but again, at the front of the field, Callum Voisin still on pole, only very, very closely followed by Alex Dunn. It was less than half a tenth of a second, which shows quite how close it is at the front, Max.
Yeah, it does, and also quite threatening that if you are on pole, because as we've spoken about, and as we've seen in the first race, you can't get away here. It's really, really difficult to try and pull, although that's what Alex Dunn managed to do in the second half of the race. So for Callum, he just needs to get his head down, focus on hitting all of his marks and just drive.
Yep. One pick that I think will be good to watch in this race is Matthew Rees. Matthew Rees has, even by his own standard, not had the strongest start to the season as he would want. His teammate Joseph Loke taking the limelight in a lot of the races so far, but we know the speed he has. He's brought that team up, the JHR team, up to the front of the field towards the end of last year, starting in 4th place in this race. I reckon he's going to be racy in this one. We know he doesn't mind getting his elbows out and throwing in a few moves.
Yeah, definitely, and he had a disappointing race himself in the first race, and it's just great to see JHR with how they've been performing this season and really taking the fight.
Also a strong weekend as well for Nico Christodoulou, another strong qualifying. He's in 5th place. That's probably Arden's strongest showing so far this season, and Nico Christodoulou, again a second-year driver after competing most of last year's season, is feeling very confident in that car, and hopefully he can bring out a good result once again. And I'm hoping everyone can get through the first lap unscathed this time. We lost about 5 cars at the start of the previous one. Only 20 of the 25 cars finished race number 1, but you can see all the cars, Callum Voisin taking his grid position in first place, all weaving up and getting the last bit of tyre temperature before we head off for the 9-lap race here around the Spa-Francorchamps circuit. 9 laps doesn't sound like a lot, Max, but it's a 7-kilometre, 4.5-mile circuit here at the circuit Spa-Francorchamps, one of the longest circuits on this calendar, but also any calendar.
Yeah, it's this whole first lap is just so long in itself. To get through it unscathed is a challenge when you have 25 plus car grid all trying to get through Eau Rouge, side by side together. So the lights are about to come on now.
Here we go, getting ready for the start. Let's see if Callum Voisin can get another good start and potentially hold the lead this time. Will Alex Dunn be able to get in front in the first lap of the race this time out? Or is Mackenzie Cresswell going to have a fight again for the top 3 positions after that mistake in race number 1? It'll be interesting to see what goes on here. We're just waiting for the final cars to line up on the grid. We'll get the green flag any moment now. Of course, 25 cars, that's the 5-second board, 25 cars on this grid. And we are away. It looks like a good start from the pole position, but also Mackenzie Cresswell now the inside, 3 wide going for the lead. Mackenzie Cresswell takes the lead into the source. Alex Dunn around the outside. Callum Voisin down to 3rd place. That is Max Esterson up 5th as well. So he's had a good start, and we're going 2, 3, 4 wide in the back. Everyone's stringing out as we head down the run towards Eau Rouge and Radion. I believe that's James Headley potentially in the background going side by side with one of the other Fortec cars. That'll either be Piers or Boberski. But Kuharczyk goes side by side with Christodoulou up through Radion and Eau Rouge. As the rest of the field follow their way through, all safely through so far, but now the long drag to Lacombe. Callum Voisin's managed to get his way back through his first. Christodoulou puts 2 wheels on the grass. Alex Dunn now around the outside. Who's going to come out ahead here? Looks like Voisin is going to retake the lead after going down to 3rd place at the source.
That really just shows the effect of the toe that we keep talking about and just keep seeing.
Yes.
Brilliant start from Cresswell. He had to do, he had such a good start. He had nowhere to go but just take the lead and try and make the most of it. It put him on a bit of a compromised line into 1, which is why he's now dropped back to 3rd. But Voisin did really well in keeping his head together, dropping to 3rd and just knowing that the straight is long enough that if he gets a good enough exit, he can retake the lead.
Yeah, Voisin doing very well to get up in the lead of the race, and we are, as we were on the grid now, Voisin from Dunn, from Cresswell, from, I think Reese has dropped down a little bit, I can't quite see in this light here. So in third place, yeah, Reese is still in fourth, and that is Esterson in fifth after a good start. Nico Christodoulou and Timek Kuharczyk going side by side for about the fifth time this lap already. It was a great start from Mackenzie Cresswell at the front and off the line, and he ended up having to take 2 wheels and showing that he's not holding back any punches, and he's trying to make amends for that mistake he made in race number 1. But he did make a good comeback to 11th place, I believe. Let's just double check. Yeah, it was 11th place he came back to. So we're now going down the back part of the circuit into the final sector. It looks like Suta Arau has dropped down the field, as has Noah Ping. Noah Ping might not have made it through the sector, so potentially an issue for him. But this is a long run through Blanchimont, completely flat all the way from Stavelot to the bus stop chicane, and that is a good gap there from Cresswell, from Callum Voisin at the front of the field, who's got a purple middle sector, of course, the fastest of anyone so far. As we now see side by side, that's a Douglas car. Is that still Timek Kuharczyk? Yes, still Kuharczyk and Nico Christodoulou having a ding-dong battle, and that, I think, is potentially Loke getting involved in that group as well. But the gap over the line for the lead is 6.5 tenths, right on the cusp of that slipstream, isn't that, Max?
Yeah, it just is, and a mega first lap from Voisin there. He really pulled out as much of a gap as he could. Maybe they've gone hard on tyre pressures, or maybe Voisin just put in the best opening lap possible around Spa. But again, we're seeing the effect of the toe in that last sector, with Dunn already closing back in. Yeah, Dunn actually setting a very quick final sector as well to close 3 tenths in the final sector. That's a big, as you can see, Voisin now just gently weaving around side by side in the background. I believe that might be Joseph Loke. Let's have a look. Yeah, I think that is Loke making his way past Timek Kuharczyk, as Nico Christodoulou has already made his way past Kuharczyk as well. No, Loke can't get it done this time, as we're closer, even further behind as well. That's she and Headley having a fight through Leku. Let's have a look at this again. 2 wheels on the grass, Max. Yeah, it's brilliant part about Spa. You can pull off moves on the grass. We see it in F1 and you see it in GB3. Yes, of course. The grass is not where you want to be, but sometimes if you want to make a way through, you have to maybe push the limits a little bit. But that gap has definitely come down a little bit for the lead. I think the first lap that Voisin did was, he really hit the marks and got that middle sector sorted. A lot of it is just confidence, but the speed in that high-tech Pulse 8 car, they had something special here last year. You were telling me off camera. They've got that pace once again this year, but our championship protagonist at the moment, Callum Voisin, who's right up there, is showing that once again he is not going down without a fight. Yeah, well, he's trying as hard as he can in this middle sector to pull some kind of gap out, but Dunn in that middle sector looked mighty. He seems to have really closed back the gap again. Yeah, that gap has definitely closed down somewhat. Let's have a look at the sector times. Sector 1, Dunn was the fastest of anyone by quite some margin, a 40.11. Even Voisin was only a 40.5, so 4 tenths alone in the first sector. Again, actually the middle sector, Mackenzie Cresswell was the fastest, potentially pulling it up. But look, then we're going to have a C at the front of the field. Are we going to have a move for the lead? Doesn't look like it, but Nico Christodoulou now going around the outside of Joseph Loke into the bus stop. Can he get that move done? What an excellent move from Nico Christodoulou, but it's not done. Loke takes to the exit. Goes one on the exit to maintain that position. I wonder if he'll be allowed to keep that position, but that's allowed Timek Kuharczyk to now got the inside of Nico Christodoulou into La Source, and then we've still got the long run down and up through Radion and Eau Rouge, up Kemmel. Oh, nearly a touch, and who's that going wide? That is Christodoulou that's been forced into the gravel. He's lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places now. Even Headley is making his way through, and Headley is now the leading Arden VRD car. So that's really disappointing. Christodoulou going up 1 place and then down 5 in about 2 corners. Yeah, and interestingly, amongst all of that, Cresswell has got the fastest lap of the race as the 2 in front of him are battling. Yeah, the leaders are battling once again. Can Alex Dunn go around the outside? No, he can't. Callum Voisin giving him a squeeze and giving him absolutely no choice but to go around the outside, and Alex Dunn thought better of it. Let's have a look at this again. There you go. Christodoulou in the background, just getting 2 wheels on the gravel, and once you're in the gravel, the plank in the middle of the car doesn't allow you to get back on circuit. Who's that going off? Was that Loke? Is that Loke? Is that a JHR? Is that Loke? Or is that Morales? Is that Loke or is that Reese? I can't tell, couldn't tell who that was, but anyway, that was someone going wide on the exit of Malmedy, but the group at the front have definitely broken away with all this squabbling. I believe that's Reese ahead of that track. Yeah, Reese it is. Let's run through the order as it stands now. So we've got Voisin from Dunn, from Cresswell, then we believe it's Reese, Kuharczyk, and that's a Fortec car. No, that's a Hill Speed.
That's the heel speed of Gerard Shee. Gerard Shee's done well to get up that high. So Gerard Shee, then Headley and Christodoulou, Wyberski, Bennett, Pearson, Morales. That must have been Loke then that's gone wide on the exit of Malmedy and lost a lot of place. Someone else has gone wide. Everyone dropping
held
wheels.
it, but you're just gonna hemorrhage time now all the way down to the bus stop. Like I think we saw Christodoulou. I think Christodoulou did very well to actually hang on to 9th because you've lost so much time all the way up the hill.
Yeah, exactly. Because of course, turn 15 is of course Paul Frere, and as you go through there, if you drop a wheel, it's completely flat through there. Drop a wheel on the gravel, you lose some traction. Then you're slow on the long uphill run to the bus stop chicane, which the leaders are now going through. This is the closest that I think Dunn has been at this section of the circuit. Cresswell just about hanging on to the coattails of these two ahead, just outside of the slipstream at the moment. We're still fanning out wide. That group battle for 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, almost down to 14th place. That's about 8 or 9 cars there fighting. Could be any of them. As you can see them all queuing up going into La Source. The long run down the Kemmel straight is going to be it's going to be a tactical game as to who's going to make the most moves here. It looks like that I think that is Reese still holding off. Yes, he is just about holding off the rest of the group. Reese got Judge Shee right behind him. Kuharczyk has also got Reese up his gearbox as well.
They're just all so close together. We see really tucked up on the rear wing here. He goes down for the lead.
He's going around the outside.
Oh, it's going to be close.
That's a great manoeuvre around the outside, and fair play to Callum Voisin for giving him enough room. He could have easily opened the steering and there could have been contact there, but Callum Voisin knows he's in a fight for the championship, having a look into Rivage, not close enough this time, but another great move down the Kemmel Straight and into Lecumbe by Alex Dunn has taken the lead once again. Are we going to see a repeat of race number 1 from this weekend in round 7 of the championship, where Alex Dunn pulled away at this point? It was a good middle sector last time he got through in race number 1 that managed to break the toe. Can Callum Voisin keep within that sort of 6 or 7 tenths gap where you need to be to get the straight line speed advantage from the toe?
It's going to be really tough for Voisin now to put it in. He has to keep his head together. He's seen this before happening in race 1. He's got to forget that actually ever happened and just try and focus on getting back into the toe and trying to do something to win this race.
That gap, or that group from 5th, which is Gerard Shee, all the way down to Edward Pearson in 12th, 6 or 7 cars. That's someone else wide.
That's Loke.
That is Loke. Loke has gone wide once again. Now he's going to be under pressure from Nico Christodoulou. Those two have already had a couple of not comings together, but a couple of battles this race. They're going to go at it once again on that run, the long uphill run through 16, the turn 16 up towards the bus stop. Let's have a look at that again. It was Loke just running wide on his own there, I think. He wasn't even under the rear wing of James Headley, so unfortunately an error costing him there. Let's see who's going to come out ahead as they come into the last sector. We're now looking back at Timothy Kuharczyk as there's now 3 wide going into the bus stop. That is Jared Wyberski getting involved there. John Bennett going around the outside in that Rodin Carlin car. It's going to be a pinch at the last sector, not quite getting that move done. And then is that Edward Pearson having a look and going past? That is Edward Pearson going past John Bennett in the Rodin Carlin car, but no, dropping back in. He thought he did that move off the circuit, probably doing the wise thing, dropping back in and waiting for a better opportunity up through Radion and Eau Rouge and the main overtaking opportunity, which is into Lecumbe. The top 3 pulling away. There is absolutely no dispute as who's going to be on the podium, barring any errors at this stage of the race, but every other position is completely up for grabs. And you can see there's a puff of smoke from the underneath of the car as they go through Radion and Eau Rouge, as the cars hit the circuit and the plank burns away. Now Kuharczyk and Gerard Shee are going side by side. Gerard Shee has made that position in 4th now, but Kuharczyk going up the inside once again. A late lunge, but backing out at the last moment, protecting his front wing, probably the wise thing to do.
Yeah, it just seems from 4th down, it's like a kart race. It's either make a move or be overtaken by the guy behind you. There's no second to breathe there. Look, as soon as you look away, there's another car having to defend, and that just brings everyone behind them closer in. Yeah,
so it looks like Pearson did make his way past John Bennett for 11th position, and now Costa Taparis is right on the back of his teammate in the Rodin Carlin cars. John Bennett in 12th, Costa Taparis in 13th. You can tell the difference between those two cars because Bennett has the yellow flashes, Taparis has the white flashes on those largely black and dark blue Rodin Carlin cars that we're looking at right now. And he's actually under pressure, or was a second ago under pressure from Lucas Steiker, but Steiker's made a mistake and now fallen behind David Morales.
It looks like Voisin has done well as well to stay within range of that lap there, rather before we saw Dunn just check out immediately. But again, the gap's up to 7 tenths in that middle sector. Cresswell, though, is really hanging on in 3rd, and he could be a bit of a dark horse come the end of this race.
Yeah, Cresswell is only 6/10 off the back of Voisin, and he'll definitely be looking to try and get one up on Voisin after, of course, that little error at the first race. Looks like Daniel Mavliatov of the Hill Speed team in that number 99 car, black and day-glow yellows, had an issue because he's way off the back of the field, but this group at the front seems to be stringing out somewhat. It's almost equidistant now at about 6 or 7 tenths, right where the toe kind of drops away. Be interesting to see if Callum Voisin can stay on the back of Alex Dunn at the front of the field.
7 tenths. I think if he can get a good enough exit here, he can at least stay with him to maybe have a chance to lap after.
Yeah, great running from Gerard Shee to come through the field. Where did he qualify? Let's have a quick look at Gerard.
Just on the fastest lap.
Yeah, Shee's just on the fast lap. He qualified in 8th position. He's already up to 4th. That's an excellent start to the race for that Hill Speed driver. And I know, Max, you raced for Hill Speed last year in GB4. You've got a good affinity with that team. That would be a great and confidence-inducing result for them if he can keep that position.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're a great team. They're a title contending team, as we proved last year. And, you know, that's what they should be doing as well in GB3. They've got the people to do it, and I think we're starting to see that being delivered with Gerard as he's getting more and more experience.
Yeah, it's great to see from Gerard and the team putting up a good showing here at Spa-Francorchamps, which is a difficult circuit to get the cars perfect for. As we're now seeing the number 5 there, Matthew Rees, defending from Nico Christodoulou. They've already been up war this race a couple of times already. But let's just have a quick check-in of the result of the current standings. We're just over halfway on this lap, 6 of 9. So Dunn from Voisin, Cresswell closely behind in 3rd. Then a big gap to Gerard Shee, who's pulling away from Timet Kuharczyk in 5th place. James Headley, Matthew Rees in 6th and 7th, Nico Christodoulou in 8th, Joseph Loke in 9th, and Edward Pearson rounding up the top 10, followed closely by his teammate Jared Boberski for Forsec Motorsport in 11th place. And this 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th battle is also raging on as well. And that group is Edward Pearson through Boberski, Bennett, Tapares, Morales, and down to Lucas Steiker, who's actually just falling off the back a little bit of that group. Let's have a look at the replay here. Oh, that's our leader, Alex Dunn, dropping a wheel on the exit of No Name on the way down to Pouhon. So potentially we'll be leaving him a little bit vulnerable in the middle sector. Let's have a look at the middle sector times, if I can get the live timing back on my...
It just shows you how edgy you have to be driving these cars, though. Even though we've looked at Dunn and he looked very much in the control, he is on the limit every single corner to try and stay ahead of Voisin.
Yeah, he very much is, and we're seeing some warning flags being issued there. One couldn't see who those drivers are getting those warning flags. That'll either be for contact or probably for track limits, because of course the officials will be looking all over the circuit at making sure that all the drivers are staying within the track boundaries, because you don't want to be gaining an advantage. Well, the drivers do want to gain an advantage, but you're not allowed to gain an advantage from leaving the circuit. Just looking back to 4th place Gerard Shee, that gap has come slightly down to Timet Kuharczyk. We're interested to see if that is going to put him vulnerable in the toe. But this group at the front, still just equidistant. Cresswell just starting to fall off the back of Voisin, now 1 second. But regardless, even if Cresswell doesn't manage to catch the back of Voisin or Dunn, it's a good result for him.
Yeah, it's a mega result, especially after what happened this morning, for him to be able to just concentrate on what he needs to do. Take the lead at the start. Unfortunately, that does leave you vulnerable up the hill. But he's been there in 3rd, and he's closed in when the two in front have battled. And maybe if we saw them battle a little bit more, he would have actually been pulled up into it. But he seems to have lost a little bit of time there coming out of the first corner. You know, where it was 9 tenths, he's lost, seems like another half a second there. But the top two again, back down to half a second.
Back down to half a second indeed. That last lap around, the leader at the front of the field, Alex Dunn, was one of the fastest on circuit, as was Callum Voisin as well, of course. So that's why they're gapping Mackenzie Cresswell. He's almost a 1.5 seconds down off the back of Cresswell now, and you can visibly see that gap opening up for the front three. But I'd say actually that the Gerard Shee and Timet Kuharczyk are also have got some great pace there. They're gapping quite considerably. James Headley in 6th place, and everything's opening up ever so slightly. The closest battle in the top 10 is between Loke and Pearson, or was at the last checkpoint. So let's hopefully we can catch back up and see if there's been any changes of position there.
In the meantime, I have to say, like, Voisin has to again think about a championship here. You know, he's 2nd in the championship. It's a bit of a gap to Loke, and Loke's not having the best weekend here. This is a chance to really capitalise, and maybe a 2nd place is better than throwing it off trying to chase the lead.
I completely think so, and I've said it the first couple of rounds, and I stand by it. I think Callum Voisin has matured as a driver and a person over the last year, since he joined last year straight from Janetta Juniors into GB3, which is a massive jump. Last year we saw the pace he had, but quite often made a few mistakes here and there and maybe made some manoeuvres that weren't the wisest, whereas this year he's just been banging in the results. Every qualifying session, every practice session, every race, he is there or thereabouts.
Exactly, a consistency, that's what wins you championships. It's always being there, always making sure you're getting those top 5 finishes. Your worst day is still a good day.
Yeah.
That's what matters more than how many wins you can rack up in a year.
Yeah, I don't actually think, apart from round 3 at Alton Park, where he had a DNF, which was not his fault, he got taken out, I don't think he's finished outside of the top 5, so or top 6 at least. Clearly a consistent result, and he's actually just falling off the back a little bit of our race leader Alex Dunn now. So that front 3 is probably going to stay as it is, because we are now on the penultimate lap unless anyone makes any drastic errors, but the rest of the top 10 pretty much is all still up for grabs, springing out for 5th, 6th and 7th and 8th place actually now. So Christodoulou is now off the back of Rees. Pearson is still on the back of Christodoulou by the looks of it, so there might still be fights. It's a good showing actually from Edward Pearson in that Fortec car. He's first couple of rounds struggled a little bit for pace compared to his teammates, both Max Esterson, of course, who's a second-year driver in the GB3 Championship, and also Jared Wilburski, who you raced closely with in the GB4 Championship last year. But this weekend, he seems like he's found something. He's definitely turned over a new leaf, because he's been right up there with the rest of the group. Let's have a quick look at a replay into the last corner. That is Edward Pearson on the back, I believe, of one of the Arden VRD cars. And then there's Jared Wilburski under pressure from John Bennett as well. But yeah, what do you think? Edward Pearson, he's found some good pace this weekend.
Yeah, he has, and he's kind of gone a bit under the radar with everything else that's gone on in this race, with how good of a result he's putting in here. He seems to be, holding up the championship leader actually quite, very well. There's nothing much that train can do about him at the minute.
Yeah.
They're all just sort of following in the middle sector, but he seems to be doing enough out the important corners to actually make sure no one can just slipstream past him.
Yeah, he's doing all he needs to do at this stage to stay ahead. It must be a bit strange when you're in a group like this, Max, where you've got sort of 2 cars ahead and 2 cars behind, because everyone's got the tow, so no one can really move anywhere, and it just takes one mistake from one driver, and then it just shifts the momentum, and then it's all changed once again.
Yeah, exactly. So with Pearson, as we can see at the front of that train, if someone was to make a move or he makes a little mistake, you won't just drop 1 place, you could drop 2 or 3, and it just sets a big pack motion off, where the momentum shifts, and then it's all about trying to make moves, as we can see here.
Yeah, John Bennett looking around the outside of the bus stop, going on the outside of Jared Wilburski, trying it once again, or was it the other way around last time? No, it was actually Bennett trying again, so he tried that move once, didn't get it done. Now he's got it done again. I think he just left the track there, but hopefully he'll be able to keep that position, but it was a good move, opportunistic to go around the outside, but Wilburski will have an opportunity to get that place back on the long run up. Of course, as we say every lap, the long run to Lake Coombe, but it looked like Wilburski was almost into the back of Bennett into the source.
He was virtually pushing him there, again showing where the driver's heads are at that corner. Although you look at it and go, it's a very good overtaking place, you're just going to get passed back on. It's exactly when you play the F1 game and you know where the DRS line is.
Yes.
You sit and you wait for it, because that's going to be your best chance to pass. If you pass before it, you're just going to get repassed.
Yeah, a reminder that no DRS in this GB3 Championship. All the moves on the road have to be done by the drivers. There's no assistance whatsoever, which is good, I think, for the drivers to learn how to make a manoeuvre without relying on the drag reduction system that we have in FIA, F3, F2, and of course Formula 1. And we have the reverse grid coming up tomorrow, so make sure you're watching again tomorrow. We're on the final lap now, and it looks like, barring any calamitous results, and I'll touch wood just so I don't do commentator's curse, Alex Dunn is making his way to a 2nd win of the weekend. He got his 1st win in the GB3 Championship this morning, and it will be rounding that out with another very, very impressive victory in this one, even by probably more time than the first one. Callum Voisin, we've mentioned, would be happy with the 2nd place, disappointed not to get the race win after getting a double pole position. But Mackenzie Cresswell will be buoyed with a 3rd place, especially considering he had a very tough result in the first race after a mistake on lap 1, putting him down the field, but a good recovery until into 11th place. But the group down the field in the sort of lower end of the top 10, and actually looking at the results, the gap between Bennett and Wilburski at the last sector was 0.012, and it looks like Wilburski's got his way back past Bennett off camera. But now heading into the final corner, the bus stop for the final time, our race winner for race number 1 and now race number 2, Alex Dunn for the High-Tech Pulse 8 team. He'll be absolutely over the moon with that. We'll see the team lean over the wall and give him a big fist pump. You can see how much that means to him. Potentially the start of a championship challenge in what was last year's championship winning car.
Yeah, I mean, flawless race really from Alex Dunn there. He did what he had to do again, kept his head together, and then just delivered exactly like he did in race 1. Pulled a really good gap in those closing stages of the race. I think with the top 3, Voisin's done well, as we spoke about. It's consistency that can win you a championship, banking these P2s, banking the big points. A championship's made over the course of a season, not just one result, which is the last race of the year.
Yeah.
So very good from Voisin, and then great from Cresswell to finally get on that podium.
Yeah, also really, really good result we mentioned in the middle of the race for Gerard Shee, of course, getting a 4th place, an excellent result for the Hill Speed team, of course, a new partnership this year between Hill Speed and High-Tech Pulsate, potentially helping that team along a little bit as well. But Gerard Shee, we know he's got good pace, so he'll be looking forward to seeing how they carry on. Hopefully, very shortly, we'll be able to run you through the provisional results, but for now, we're just looking at those last drivers coming over the line. That is the number 3 there of Noah Ping, who was further down the field in that one. Noah Ping, he'll be a bit disappointed with his pace in qualifying, because especially Chris Dudula is showing some excellent pace this weekend, but James Headley actually had a strong race to come up the field from the back of the grid in that one. Fastest lap of the race was also set by your race winner, which was Alex Dunn, with a 2 minutes 16.669, a few tenths faster than Gerard Shee, who is in 4th place. And let's have a look at a quick run through the highlights. So a great start from Mackenzie Cresswell on the inside, managing to take the lead into turn 1 and led up Radion, while Voisin was in 2nd and Dunn was in 3rd, but the tow was so strong that Voisin managed to get through, and Alex Dunn followed him through, but there was some contact in the background, but everyone managed to make it through this time out. Voisin led the early part of the race, but there was more battling down the field as we saw Kuharczyk, Krista Dulu, Loke, Reese, everyone getting involved, and then we saw Kuharczyk and Reese going together and throwing up some dust there. But at the front of the field, Voisin still held on for this part of the race. Then there was some more fighting, some people dropping wheels everywhere. Then Loke was going side by side with Krista Dulu once again, and Kuharczyk trying to move up and down. Then unfortunately Krista Dulu just dropping 2 wheels off the curb on the exit of La Source, which dropped him down the field. And then Loke took a trip through the grass as well, which dropped him down. So a lot of drama, a lot of chopping and changing. And then there we saw, I think that was Loke as well. No, that was Reese dropping 2 wheels on the exit. But then we look back, it was then 2 by 2 at this stage of the race. But at the front of the field, Alex Dunn was not content with 2nd place, sent it around the outside of Lecombe for a very solid move. Good driving from Callum Voisin to give him just enough room, but Loke was off once again on the exit of the chicane. Further chopping and changing down the field with the 2 Fortec cars fighting with the Rodin Carlin of John Bennett, and then Gerard Shee managed to make his way through on the blue Douglas Motorsport car, and that's where he would stay in 4th place, and Kuharczyk would also consolidate his 5th place for another solid result. Alex Dunn not completely mistake-free in the race, with dropping 2 wheels off the circuit on the exit of No Name just once, but that did not deter him, and he drove away from the rest of the field. And now we can see in the bottom right-hand corner, Alex Dunn is just making his way out of the car. But those places in the lower end of the top 10 were still not decided right until the end of the race. John Bennett making his way past Jared Waberski into the bus stop, but then losing that place later on that lap, or earlier on the next lap. But then at the end of the race, Alex Dunn pulled an almost 2-second gap. 1.995 seconds was the margin at the end of the race from Callum Voisin, Mackenzie Cresswell, Gerard Shee, and Simek Kuharczyk rounding out the top 5. And I'm hoping very shortly that we're going to be able to send down to be able to get some post-race interviews and reaction from the top 3 drivers. We're looking at Alex Dunn here, 2nd time winning in the GB3 Championship. Let's hear from him.
Congratulations, another great win, and you made the move into race 1.
Yeah, I think ultimately it was the same goal. Tried to get a good start and kind of bide my time, and then kind of go for the move when I knew it was going to pull off. And yeah, I think we made a little change to the car after race 1 for race 2, and definitely I think we improved it again. So yeah, I'm really happy.
You seem to be able to pull away from Callum a little bit earlier on this race.
Yeah, I think I managed to get a little bit closer earlier on. I think obviously without the safety car it kind of happened a little bit quicker, and then like I said, we made a change to the car, so I felt a little bit more comfortable, and then I was able to kind of just get my head down and drive away.
Congratulations. We'll go across to Callum. Callum, congratulations, 2nd place again. You seem to sort of pull away after a bit of a dodgy start, but he got you back in the same place again.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, but still, quite happy with the result. Got some good points, so yeah, that's what we really hope for. A bit of a bad start, as I said, so got to work on that. But no, apart from that, I'm still quite happy.
While you had a bad start, you were, able to capitalise out of the source and get that place back fairly early on.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that just shows kind of the power of the slipstream. Still getting a bad start and managing to lead it after lap 1. Just such a long straight going down into League 1. So no, I mean, we can still be happy, but frustrating, I guess. But yeah, still.
Well done. Race 3 to come. Finally, Mackenzie. Mackenzie, congratulations, third place. They were just that little bit that ahead of you that you couldn't roll them in.
Yeah, exactly. They were very fast. I had a really good start, got into the lead. I had to take the chance when it came because I know that I couldn't really hang with the two in front. I was quick in the middle sector, but down the straights they're both very strong. So yeah, even if I could stay in front after the Kemmel Straight, I still don't think I'd have won that race because I just couldn't quite match them in the top end. But still, it's good points. P3's a good result considering the rough starts of the season we had. So yeah, I'll take it.
Still a race to go though, so all still to play for.
Yeah, exactly. It's a long race tomorrow, 25 minutes. You can overtake around here, as has been shown in the first two races. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to get my elbows out and hope for a good result.
Brilliant. Well, congratulations, and we'll let you get to the podium.
Great to hear from our top three drivers there. It was a great race. Let's run you through the provisional results. So Alex Dunn led by 1.995 seconds over the line from Callum Voisin and Mackenzie Cresswell. Gerard Shee, Timet Kuharczyk, James Headley, Matthew Rees, Edward Pearson, Nico Christodoulou, and then in 11th place was Jared Vabursky, John Bennett, Costa Taparis, David Morales, Oliver Stewart, Lucas Staiko, Arthur Rojon, Ayoto Iwasaki, Sean Rashid, Zach Taylor, and then the final few positions were Noah Ping, Daniel Mavliatov, who was the last classified driver, and Suter Arau, Max Esterson and Michael Shin. Unfortunately, none of those finished the race. We didn't see what happened to those, but no, overall, a good race. There was a lot of fighting throughout the field, Max, and we're just left with one more race of the weekend to go, the reverse grid, which will be coming to you tomorrow. So I very much look forward to that. What are you looking forward to in that race, Max?
Well, I think this is Loke's big opportunity to make back some points they would have lost this weekend. So I'm looking forward to seeing his charge through the field. The opportunity to give the less experienced drivers at the the back of the field a chance to show what they can do. So that's going to be very, very exciting. And as well to see with Dunn's pace, extraordinary pace he's had all weekend. Let's see how far he can get up that grid.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what Dunn can do, but also to see Callum Voisin carve his way through. We know he can overtake, and he's done some exceptional reverse grid drives over the last year or so. But thanks very much for watching today. We're going to end the stream right here, but make sure you join us back again tomorrow just before 10:40 for the third race, 10:40 UK time, for the third race of the weekend, and the reverse grid. It's scheduled to be a good one. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you then.